decent and hardworking, or you've got an acceleration, a wheat from the chaff. And I think about what'll happen with these decadent populations during real crises when our forebears were a lot more moral during the Great Depression. University estimates are 7 million during the 10-year Great Depression died of starvation or complications from malnutrition or other connections to the Depression. 90% rural, most of them self-sufficient versus 89% urban, half of the 11% being self-sufficient that are rural. I mean, that people bomb of just bedlam, it'll make New Orleans look like a cakewalk. It boggles my mind the type of powder keg we're sitting on.
Indeed, I'm really worried about the population demographics as well. For example, we have a problem with the Black communities with such a high percentage without a father in the home, with a high percentage on welfare. We have a fairly large percentage of the Latino community, which is angry with American society and trying to take it back. We have a large corrupt sector. We have, 40 million people plus on food stamps in America. This is a tremendous benefit corrupt, huge minority that threatens our very well-being someday. And that's why I really concentrate on these population density maps, which I put in strategic relocation. You've got to be very, very careful of where those population densities are going to empty out someday when food supplies get cut off or when there's a major war or even the threat. The biggest thing I worry about terrorism is not real terrorism, because I think most of what we face is provoked terrorism or manufactured terrorism by a government, but it's the government reaction to the very terrorist threats that they create that creates a great deal of consternation, whether it's closing down freeways, shutting down the airlines. It could shut down transportation at will, all in the name of terrorism, and it causes instant panic among people. And that's one of the things that I talk about in strategic relocation, about how to find safe places, is to be very, very careful of analyzing where those exit routes are going to be. A lot of people, when I'm designing homes, they ask, well, how many miles should I be away from a road or a freeway? And while I generally give 5 miles and a mile against any major local road, it's much more important to understand how to be out of the way, not to build on a hill, not to be visible from a long distance away. How to be away on turning roads rather than long straight roads where you can see 100 miles. It's important to pick the strategic terrain that people will not be tempted to go to as they're being refugees going down a road.